Hey, Christian here, founder of Second Life Coaching, where I teach men in the middle of their lives and their careers to recapture the joy and the passion of their youth, mix it with the wisdom of their age, and use that to make an impact on their lives, their families, their careers, and the world. So, I was thinking about doing a little bit of live tonight, but let's be honest, it's Saturday. Yesterday was a bit of a late night, hanging out with Adam Lowry of the Cognitive Rampage podcast. If you haven't checked it out, do so. It was a great conversation. We ran almost 2 hours last night live, and it was nonstop from start to finish. But I wanted to take a few minutes and talk to you about something that kind of always goes through, and it's a recurring theme in everything that a lot of things that I talk about, and that is there are no coincidences in life. None. Zero. Big old goose egg. Your life is made up. It is the sum of all the choices you've made, both consciously and subconsciously. Even when you think you haven't decided, you still, it's like that Rush song, if you choose not to decide, you still have made a choice. And your life is like a choose your own adventure book. Every decision you make takes you to a different page, introduces you to a new cast of characters, introduces you to new situations, new things to learn, new skills, the whole 9 yards. And if you follow kind of a timeline of your life, if you really sit down and think about it for a bit and really kind of look at the arc of your experience, you'll see that your life is where it is exactly because of the decisions that you made. Now, there are things that are out of your control. However, a lot of times when you reach those situations, it's because previously you've made a decision to move in that direction. So whether it's a relationship you're stuck in a bad marriage, you're stuck in a bad dating relationship, you're in a crappy job that you hate, you're living someplace you don't like, and all the things in your life that are less than stellar, are less than desired, are a reflection of all the decisions that you've made in your life. Now, I'm also a firm believer that you're the only one present at every single train wreck in your life, and remember that every single horrible train wreck in your life, you've been the only one present at every single one. And that should emphasize that there are no, everything is your decision. Your decisions have led you to that point. And when I'm talking about no such thing as coincidences, it all kind of blends together. People talk about, fate did this, I'm so lucky for, X, Y, and Z. Had I not whatever, my life would have turned out completely differently. But there's no such thing. Luck comes to those who work at it, who work to make things happen. And your brain is making a million different decisions subconsciously every second. Excuse me, a little congested this evening. And so the decisions that you make consciously and subconsciously are consistently influencing the things that are happening in your life, or the things that haven't even happened yet that will happen. The connections you'll make, the people you'll meet, what have you. Just 2 weeks ago, after a little bit of time off due to some, let's just say, challenges, events that happened that were out of control, but yet they were within a situation that I had made a decision years ago to get through. I went to a networking event, and that's where I happened to meet Adam. Well, first I met his compatriot, and we started talking about what they do and what they talk about, and I talked about what I did and what I do, and next thing you know, a week and a half later, him and I are sitting around a table in a studio, drinking beers and talking about the life and use of the universe and everything. Now people will say, well, it's really coincidental that you guys ran into each other. And it's like, no, not so much, because I made the decision to go there, made the decision to say hello, made the decision to introduce myself, and made the decision to see about becoming a guest on a show. And then going forward, booking the slot in the whole 9 yards. And these sorts of coincidences, these events in your life that people tend to call coincidences, a lot of times they create connections. And a friend of mine posted something the other day about how connections are timeless, and they don't really care if it's, how long relationships or whatever have been, and that it's all about resonance. That a true connection is one that has resonance. And that's true. That's absolutely true. You see people that are in the same, made connections and worked in the same job for 100 years, and they just kind of die on the inside. You see people that have been married forever, and it's really just a thing, But then you see connections between two people who have known each other forever, and it's like, it's like day one. Or you run into people and you meet them for the first time, and you feel, even though it's the first time you've ever met them or run into them, you feel like you've known them forever. And those are sort of the resonance connections that really make life worth it. And they're not coincidental. They're decisions, they're choices. They're on the path of, from where you've come to where you're going. So I'm going to wrap this up here and say that if you're really looking to find some sort of resonant connections, in whether it's in your career or your personal life or what have you, then seek them out. Not necessarily seek them out, but make the decision to be places where those things can happen, where you can run into people like that, where you put yourself out there in whatever situation and make the decision to say hello, or crack a joke, or what have you, ask for a referral, just smile and say hi. Because sometimes that's all it takes. All it takes is a simple hello, and you could find that resonance connection that can completely change your life. And while others will say it's a coincidence, you'll know truly that it wasn't a coincidence, that it was a decision that you made that made it. So, as always, please check us out on the web at secondlifecoaching.com. Subscribe to the podcast, The 21st Century Man. This will be probably Thursday's episode coming up next week. Tuesday's episode will be talking the one we talked about, pet peeves and such. So we'll have 2 new episodes up next week. So wherever you listen to podcasts, subscribe, leave a rating and review, because you know what? I love it and I appreciate it, and I'm thankful for all you guys who listen now around the world. It is really awesome checking out the stats and seeing those sorts of things. If you are looking to figure out how you can make better decisions so you can find your own resonance connection, drop me a Facebook message down below and let's chat. So until next time, folks, love wins always. There are no connections, there are no coincidences, and it doesn't take a rocket scientist. Peace out.